To introduce myself, I am Uttam Singh, working as developer relations at Flare Network, and also we have Kristaps, who is also working as a developer relations. We have Lana, who is our event manager. Okay, so this session is specifically a Flare 101 session. So for anyone who wants to learn about what is Flare specifically and how you can build on Flare, right? So if you are participating in ETH Oxford Hackathon, that will be a nice starter. Even if you're not participating in the hackathon, then it will be good. Meanwhile, during the session, if you have any questions, there is a Q&A section, Q&A option that you can choose to ask questions. You can also drop in the chat, but yeah, it would be good to use the Q&A section. And hopefully at the end, we will also discuss the ETH Oxford, bounties if you guys want. And yeah, if you have any questions, let us know. So let's start the section. Let's start the session. The blockchain for data, which is basically Flare, right? So what exactly is Flare, right? The Flare is the blockchain for data. We call it as a blockchain for data, right? So Flare increases what is possible with the blockchain by natively providing, data as a public good. So Flare is an EVM L1 chain, right? The basic, similar to Ethereum as a settlement layer, but unique since it has its own native oracles, right? So you don't need to use external oracles. It has its own native oracles secured at the network level itself to get the price and state data, and also data from Web2 APIs, with its focus on trustless accusation of providing of the data, right? And Flare is aiming to become the blockchain for data, a place where developers can build dapps that can securely access data and data proofs from other chains, and also from the internet and from Web2 APIs, right? A lot of people do ask these questions like, why another L1? See, what makes your smart contracts smart is the data that you feed into the smart contract, right? And we have to make sure that that particular data can be trusted, it is acquired in a decentralized way, and it is reliable, right? So it's very important to use reliable data, and the data quality is very important, right? So that's why Flare is aiming to become a blockchain for data. So basically providing developers can build applications that can securely access data in a decentralized way, like, and data proofs from other chains and from the internet itself. Okay, moving forward, why Flare, right? So most of the current blockchain use cases that we currently see are relevant to only small fraction of the global population, right? Then basically those of the people who are interested in financial speculation, right? And we see meme coins going up, and most of the people are just using blockchains for earning money, right? And we want to make blockchains more stream, and and if we want to take Web3 and blockchain hold together in the mainstream world, then we need to have useful use cases, right? So in its current use guise, like the blockchain therefore are very limited relevance to most people in daily lives, right? Until we can demonstrate actually a greater utility for the people, adoption will continue to be very, very slow, right? And the product and utilization innovation in blockchain has been held by a lot of things, like by outdated and expensive oracle systems, right? They're very expensive to use, right? And that limits the amount and the variety of data that can be brought on chain, right? And although like much of the existing utility in this space comes from the nexus of decentralized computation with like external data, but today's oracles, I'm not going to name any oracle, but yeah, but today's oracle systems suffer from this drawbacks that hinders this process. Like they're hard to decentralize, and they are expensive to use and difficult to scale. And in fact, like so-called decentralized or trustless systems still rely heavily on centralized components, right? And as I said, like what makes your smart contract smart is the data that you fill in, and you have to make sure that the data quality, you can rely on that data, that data is acquired in a decentralized way, right? Right. Similar issues apply to the bridging space as well, I guess, right? With trusted bridging, multi-sig, MPC, right? There has been limited new development around decentralized data acquisition models and bridging, right? Instead, there has been too much focus on making centralized models safer, right? Which is not the way. Like, if we can get a decentralized model of it, why not? Why we have to focus on building a centralized model safer, right? What's new utility can be brought to the blockchain industry if not the if the cost of acquiring data on chain is dramatically reduced and possible at a scale, right? Can we achieve a chat GPT like watershed where real world utility drove astonishing adoption? Maybe yes. So there are several use cases around Flare. We will also discuss more use cases in the future slides. So this is the basics of why Flare, right? And those three magical words that I always use is that data, 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 right? Just like developers, we need data, 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 right? And Flare expands what's possible with the blockchain by providing developers access to all the data, users, and value they need, right? Also, if you have any questions, again, drop in the Q&A section. You can also drop in the chat section. You can also do a screenshot and do share it on Twitter itself that we are hosting a Flare 101 session. Thank you. Moving forward on our slides. So Flare's, oracles inherit the security and decentralization of the Flare blockchain, right? Providing like dApps with secure and censorship uh, resistance access to the broadest range of the off-chain data like Web2 APIs and other blockchain data. And there are definitely so many use cases, specifically ranging from machine learning and AI, and also real world assets is quite hot these days, and and also DeFi, V2, looking beyond like speculative finance like DeFi, with experimenting with cheaper and higher integrity data and more sources of value. And the real world assets, trustless traceability and proof of authenticity, which is very important. On the machine learning and AI side, like supporting and incentivizing the model training economy, and bridging and bridging and data relays are also one of the use cases. So there are definitely a lot of use cases that can be applications that can be built on Flare. Like cross chain entertainment is one of the example, right? So if you want to build anything, we do have in the Notion page of the ETH Oxford Hackathon page, we do have some applications ideas that you can build using our native oracles. Yeah, I will share the link in the description so you can check it out in the chat. Cool. Moving forward, some info, like it will be a quick one. This information will be quick about the infrastructure providers. Right now, talking about decentralization, there are 100 infrastructure providers responsible for both validation and Oracle data provision. And right recently, like Google Cloud joined recently as validator and contributor to the Flare enshrined oracles, with other professional operators like Figment and Anchor. So, just a fact about our data infrastructure providers, right? And even you can become a part of the infrastructure provider if you're interested. You can check out Flare developer docs. Flare docs. We have infrastructure dedicated section there. You can join our Discord if you have any questions. Yeah, and do let me know even here if you have any questions regarding to becoming an infrastructure provider. Flare's ecosystem developer tools. So if you are a developer, then we have a lot of tools available. For every need, we have tools available. Like for example, we have for indexing, we do have subquery, we have subsquared, right? And then we also have Anchor as our RPC providers. And also you can check out Flare API portal for the APIs, and for other APIs, like we have Covalent, and we also have Anchor's advanced API, which you can check out, right? And for account abstraction, so account abstraction is pretty hot these days, and right, we want to make a lot of people are like, we want to make Web3 mainstream. So EtherSpot is our thing, is our tool for account abstraction. So you can abstract everything, right? So you can utilize that to build a better UI UX experience for the users. You can check out that. We do have Web3 auth as well for social login, which you can check out. And then there is other wallet developer tools like Rainbow, Wallet Connect. You can just import Flare from their SDKs, which will be really helpful for quickly building applications supporting Flare. Okay, moving forward. Let's discuss a little bit about the architecture. We will not like thoroughly go about like explaining you the architecture of the Flare, but it's good to know how the basics work, right? So there is a Flare's systems protocol. It is the FSP, basically the Flare system protocol, will be like the core protocol that provides basic functionality to support future Flare protocols, and it will like decentralize and automate many operations. Most users will not need to interact with the FSP directly, right? You don't have to directly interact with the FSP, right? And like the FSP will provide, among other functions, infrastructure for Flare's futures protocols, and hereafter like all the native oracles of Flare, like the FTSO and the Flare data connector, they are now called Flare enshrined data protocols, right? And one of the advantage of the data provider for enshrined protocols is also for for such as FTSO data providers and state connector attestation providers. They are also our infrastructure provider, so it will also benefit them for, because there will be now a common procedure for submitting their data, right? So regardless of the protocol which they are submitting, so it is better for the systems and also for the infrastructure provider, and it increases decentralizations as well, and also good for infrastructure provider, right? So you will also check out that there is a message relay. So the Flare's native data, right, which you have acquired using Flare data connector and FTSO for the price feeds, you can also relay that data to the EVM chains as well, right? You can check out the relay will be ready in a few months, and yeah, and you can also check out Flare developer docs if you want to learn more about how you can build with EVM attestation types, and getting data from Flare data connector. Cool. I guess this is like the basic of the architecture. If you have any questions, we can definitely feel free to ask. We'll not go deep dive in understanding the whole Flare systems protocol. I can also provide you the links to that, so you can check out and learn more about it. I guess memes are one of the way to understand things properly. So we do have understanding this memes. We do have like Flare blockchain. Now we have Flare systems protocol, and the Flare data connector, FTSO scaling, and FTSO fast updates. Like they are enshrined protocols, and the Flare system protocols is basically the system here, and this is the Flare blockchain. So I hope you up till now you got everything what I've discussed. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to drop in the section. Moving forward, I guess I would like to invite Kristaps now, who will be giving us more info about the data protocols of Flare. He will do like a little deep dive into that. He also has some few demos to showcase. So yeah, over to you, Kristaps. And at the end, we will also discuss, more things like how you can join Flare community, and about the ETH Oxford Hackathon. So yeah, over to you, Kristaps. You can share your screen.
All right. Thank you, Uttam, for this nice intro. So I will share at first presentation, and then I will share a show demo. So about Flare products. So Uttam gave very nice introduction what we have, how it works. But we have a couple of products that we can use already today. So and on one side, I want to talk about Oracle products, and then about the bridge that we are releasing quite soon. So first is data connector and FTSO, or it stands for Flare Time Series Oracle. So those both are Oracle products. And with data connector, you can ask questions for either from other blockchains or from outside, let's say, Web2 APIs from the internet. And these questions are deterministic. So it means that you can ask yes or no questions to the data connector, and it will trustlessly answer these questions using attestation providers, which are agreeing between themselves. And then FTSO, which stands for Flare Time Series Oracle, we can ask for price feeds let's say, what's the Ethereum price in USD, or what's the gold price, and so forth. And then we have a completely new project, which is actually running on top of Data Connector and FTSO. It's called FAssets, or it's Flare Assets. And it's a bridge where you can bridge Bitcoin, XRP, Doge, and a couple of other things, other tokens to Flare. And it's especially meant for those tokens which don't have smart contract capabilities. So that's the main selling point here. And moving further, I want to dig deeper a bit into each of one. And starting with Data Connector, which essentially gets data from other blockchain or internet on Flare. And it works that you ask the Data Connector questions. So you want to request this information. And again, this is deterministic questions, yes or no. So let's say we want to ask if payment on Bitcoin has happened. So you send information to Data Connector. This specific payment, has it happened? And then attestation providers, they agree upon themselves. They go and request data from external sources, and all the system is trustless, is decentralized, and we have quite sophisticated algorithms in place that the data is correct. And then after a while, we can see the reply to this request. So has this payment happened or not? And this is how essentially Data Connector works behind the scenes. About Flare Time Series Oracle, or FTSO, that's the acronym for it. There are 100 independent providers, price providers, and with this Oracle, we can ask price pairs. So for instance, what's the price pair between Bitcoin and USD? So we ask the system, and system can give us the precise up-to-date price. And this is pretty fast to ask this information. I will show right away in demo how it's done. And also we are working on making this system much faster as it is currently. So the scaling upgrade is underway. We're already testing it, and yeah, we know that it should be faster in future. And the last one about FAssets, Flare assets. So the system is meant for like XRP, Bitcoin, Dogecoin holders who are just sitting on those assets, and actually 70% of all the blockchain value is without any use. So you cannot use in dApps, for instance. And with FAssets product, you can bridge these assets to Flare and participate in dApps or any other DeFi activities. So you can not only hold these assets and hope that they are going into, the price is going up, but you can actually put them in place. And currently we are in closed beta, but if you want to learn more, documentation page, like Uttam said, that's the way to get familiar with this product, to read all the needs, all the things about it, and reach us out if you want to get involved, because in future we are opening up for more beta testers to test this bridge, and we're launching on Songbird, that's our Canary network, quite soon, after we run all the testing ourselves. And now small demo time. So I would like to show FTSO demo, and here we can see how it works behind the scenes. I'm not going all the documentation that you can read in your own pace, but how Flare time series Oracle works is that there is price epoch. So for instance, it started, for me, it's already midnight, but basically it started on that time. Then what's the end? And then we have reveal period. So how we can guarantee that these prices are correct, so no one is tricking the system? So basically, when you submit the price, you don't know what's the time in this price in the epoch we are revealing these prices. So we take the random timestamp in that period. And here is a small demo where we can see multiple tokens. We can see Flare, Bitcoin, XRP, USDC, USDT, and Polygon Matic. And also we can also ask the system for historical prices. So again, this is price epoch. So it's you need to calculate the timestamp kind of ourselves. But here I have asked last 10 epochs, what was the price for Flare? Or we can see for Bitcoin. So nicely going up. So those who are holding Bitcoin, it has reached more than 66K. So very nice. And how it works behind the scenes, I'm showing only two functions, and this code is open source, so you can check it out yourself. But the first one is to get price. So we are using get current price with the decimals, and in return from FTSO system or a Flare time series system, we're getting price, timestamp, and decimal. So with that information, we can calculate the price as it was in this demo. So for instance, 66K for Bitcoin. And in similar fashion, we can ask what's the current price for this epoch. So we can find out what's the epoch ID, and then we can query historical prices. So I will not go into that code because it can get complicated, but essentially when we know the epoch ID, we just go back one epoch, we ask what was the price there, and we do the same for last 10, for instance, like it is in this example where we are showing the graph. And this information is you can use it right away without any sign up or anything, basically. And yeah, so let's get back to the slides. And I think Uttam, you can take over this.
Yep, thank you so much, Gustav. That was really, nice demo. And for everyone, you can join the Flare community. You can scan this QR. This is the first one is for the hackathon guide. So if you're participating in the ETH Oxford Hackathon specifically, then this guide is just a one-pager guide for you. It has everything, whatever you need to, build and hack at the ETH Oxford Hackathon. Then there is technical documentation, the developer documentation. So what Christoph showed right now, if you want to, start using State Connector and with the FTSO, you can check out the tutorials. All the tutorials are live. So it will be a quick tutorial and you can learn quickly on how to build, with State Connector and FTSO. You can also read out about FAssets and other Flare stuff as well. The Twitter. So if you do follow us on Twitter, maybe also just take a screenshot and tag us on Twitter. That you learned. What did you learn about Flare in this particular session? You can also join our Discord, right? You can scan this QRs to join our community. The link to hackathon guide and the technical documentation are also in the description. I might also drop Twitter and Discord link soon. Yeah, so I guess you can join our community. In case if you have any questions, again, you can ask in the Q&A section. Cool. Yeah, I think. Okay, if you have any questions, you can actually also unmute yourself if you want. Cool.
Yeah, again, if you want to ask questions, then this button on the right button on your screen, there is activities, and it consists of triangle, rectangle, circle. There you go, and then Q&A, so you can ask questions there. Or, yeah, we can give some time if folks have any questions. But yeah, don't hesitate to reach us out on Twitter, Discord, whatever way it's more convenient for you. Armando?
Yeah.
So, Go ahead.
Um, Hello. I joined a little bit late, and I do when I joined, you said that um, an entity can ask for a data. How could you avoid the entity to avoid abuse of asking data? For example, if it keeps asking about is it above age 16, 17, 18, it will determine the age of the person eventually, right? Is there a way to mitigate this abuse?
Yeah, so specifically about the age, I'm not sure here how, what exactly you're talking about here. But for the state connector, like for the data connector that Kristaps talked about, right, there is 5 to 6 different types of attestation types. I can provide you the link of what exactly you can ask the state connector and what types of requests you can pass it on. For the age factor, I don't know how that is relevant here, or maybe maybe I'm confused with your questions. I hope this helps. You can ask again.
Yeah, I didn't get the age question. Maybe you can specify, please.
Yeah.
No, I mean when the state connector asks to verify a data, then if it keeps asking different times of like to make like a range, it could eventually get to the data to know the data. You know what I mean, or I'm not being clear.
I think you joined a little late and you're confused about the state connector protocol exactly, how it actually works. So, I would really recommend you to, check out the documentation and learn more. And still, if you have any questions, you can ask us on Discord or on Twitter or on our Telegram.
Yeah, but essentially how state connector works is that you ask question. There is also like time period where attestation providers agree on the answer, and then after that time period, which is right now roughly like 2 minutes or something like that, and then you can get the answer from the state connector. So if I understood question correctly, so that's how you can uh, see. So it's not like taking forever as well.
Hello.
Hey,
Thanks for the presentation. I have one question related to price. How do you aggregate the information related to price? For example, if you want to get price from Bitcoin, you already showcase that we can ask for the price, but you have different connectors. So how do you manage to get a specific price related to the data that are sent to Fair?
yeah, thank you for a question. Very good question. So how I mean, we are not getting the price. We provide the system. The price providers, they have their sources, how they get the price, either it's from exchanges or whatnot, and we require very high, it should be very precise, the price. And then we take off all the extremes, and there is some algorithm magic, which I will not go over very deeply. It's actually written in our documentation, what's the algorithm behind the scenes. But we are
Yeah.
taking extremes and we're taking the median. And the thing is that in that price epoch, that's the thing, like we take the randomness there, so you don't know when exactly we are getting the snapshot and getting those prices from all the price providers. So this is how, and FTSOs actually earn money by providing
Mm.
prices. So every epoch, and they are investing in their infrastructure. So some are basically how they do it is their secret sauce. So we don't require them to expose their way. But that's the
Yeah,
beauty, that it's trustless and decentralized. So
yeah.
we
So
kind of essentially give the system to do it. Yeah.
okay. So it's on your documentation because they are important for them to get the price, but the more interesting way, and the more that can be attack is the way that you take this information and aggregate them to get the final price to the user or to the dApps.
Yeah, it's not it. There can be, of course, attacks like in blockchain. Everything can be attacked, but it's not so easy because we take all extremes and that they agree upon each other. So that no, you trust no one, but you come to the try some kind of decision using algorithm. So, but how they and where they get the price, that's up to the price provider. So we don't tell how to do it or what should they do. They just need to call the APIs that they require to participate, and if they don't do it, then they don't earn rewards. But yeah, very very good question.
And if they provide a wrong data, does they have slash or something like this, a mechanism to protect you from wrong data?
Yeah. If they do it, purposely, like many times, then algorithm actually bans them, and yeah. So and all the price providers are going into system through governance. So yeah, it's also kind of secured in that way. So no one can trick the system, and we can catch quite easily. Like not we are not sitting and doing, but the system itself catches these bad actors. All right. Next question also we will take from Q&A. But Crypto Beast, go ahead.
Aloha, everybody. Listening in from Hawaii. Thank you for the presentation and letting me stand up. I like how the system also allows those to be able to help govern how data providers provide data. You know, how we have the trill proposals and whatnot. So that's a good implementation, I think, that was implied and implemented and voted by also the community members within the community, which is another thing I like about this ecosystem, that it allows community members to be a part of these different proposals and these different systems. My question goes with the Oracle data aggregation. And I understand that in the future there will be other data that's going to be aggregated from different sources besides price data. How does at the moment the landscape look on being able to aggregate data that's other than price, such as weather data and some other use cases as such?
Uttam, do you want to take this?
Yeah, sure. So right now, specifically, what is available is, first of all, as you mentioned, the Flare data prices that you can acquire, the price feeds, the price of Bitcoin, the price of Matic, and other tokens, that you can acquire. The other attestation provides like what state connector is specifically, like the data connector that the data that can acquire is. As I've shared the link in the chat as well. There are 6 attestation type that are available right now. The first one is address validity. So basically, it can prove whether the data is valid on the Bitcoin XRP or on the dot chain, right? And similarly, we have the confirmed block height exist request, and the other one are like the payment request, right? So you can actually prove whether the payment happened on the Bitcoin chain itself or on the XRP chain itself, right? So one of the use cases that we do had earlier was this NFT marketplace where a person can pay with a person who wants to buy an NFT with Bitcoin. They can just directly pay on the Bitcoin chain, and then with the state connector you can get a proof on the Flare chain, right? And yeah, in this way you don't have to transfer your Bitcoin and do anything, right? So this is also support for XRP and Dodge specifically. And we do have this EVM attestation type as well, which can help you to acquire data and acquire proofs basically from the EVM chain. So if you want to build a bridge using the state connector, that is also possible, right? So you can prove whether a transaction happened on the Ethereum chain, and then you can do anything, whatever you want on Flare chain specifically, right? So these are like few of the attestation types that are there. In future, there will also be a case where a person, like for example, you have you were trying to build something a straight connector, you want a specific attestation types, then you can also build your own attestation types itself, right? So that is also, with the Flare system protocols, that flexibility will also be provided. I hope
Also, in
that
a sense,
answers.
building my own logic within this Oracle data system to aggregate data from other sources, such as weather data. Say, because I live in Hawaii and I surf, and we need, surfing weather data to be attested correctly and, at a better rate and faster than how we usually get that information, because some of these information, especially even within the price data world, is very important that it's correct. And when you go travel into other industries such as weather data, and improving a lot of these data is correct is very important in
Yeah.
a lot of cases, especially within a world of surfing too, where there's different elevations of, say, how big the waves are further forecasted of different weather scenarios that could happen in the future that could impact a surfing tournament or big wave surfing tournament, or even just shipping containers, and all of that can help very big. And being allowed to custom logic and build certain attestation data aggregation that could help with that is very to me mind blowing. In a sense, people is going to be able to help build foundations to allow a lot of these things to happen, and having stuff like already done in a sense to allow certain data aggregated from different blockchains and execute from one blockchain to another just shows how much Flare and this ecosystem can help push further innovation, and allowing to not just interconnect different blockchains but different data sources and different areas, which is to me is mind blowing and very wonderful for a lot of different industries. But thank you again for letting me talk and come up. I really appreciate it, and thank you guys again. Aloha from Hawaii.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there are also like Web2 APIs. You can also acquire data from Web2 APIs. So if you want to acquire data from Twitter API, or as you mentioned, the Weather API or Twilio, right? So there are like tremendous use cases that you can, build using Flare Data Connector specifically. Yeah, thanks a lot for joining. Hope that answers your question. So you can just move your hand down if you're okay. You're done.
So
Okay.
let's take some questions. Uttam, we have two questions. So first one is from Ronit. Sorry if I pronounce your name wrongly. I'm like butchering names. So the question is for the FTSO, is there something like a WebSocket that I can subscribe so I don't have to query for prices every time, especially when we have FTSO version 2 with faster times? Thank you. So Uttam, as far as I know, I'm not aware of WebSocket solution.
So yeah, I mean, WebSockets are basically, better version of, so you don't have to request again and again, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So for FTSO specifically, is there something like WebSockets that I can subscribe to? Yes, on the front end side, I guess there was something. There is also a tutorial by Tim Rowley where he, used WebSockets. I can definitely share you the link after this, or maybe just you can DM in Discord. And yeah, so you can do it. So you don't have to query every time, right? Even the smart contracts as well, right? Obviously with the smart contract, when you're using those, you have to query. But yeah, there is a solution. I can provide you a specific lead after that.
It can be built in that manner that when you ask information about the current epoch, then you see the end date. And actually, you don't need to query all the time. You know when there is a reveal period, when the reveal period has ended, and then you only query there. So actually, WebSocket, in my opinion, is kind of not needed, essentially. Of course, you can build WebSocket, so you can, listen to the updates on the backend, kind of ask this when the price reveal period ends. But in another hand, it's kind of not needed, in my opinion, at least. But definitely, you can build that one.
Yep.
Hope that answered your questions, Ronit. I'm gonna clear it from here. Cool. The other one was Kitano. Hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. Hello. What types of interactions are possible with other blockchains with Flare oracles? Specifically, is it possible for Flare to read data from another blockchain? Yes. Can Flare initiate a transaction on different blockchain? So right now, the attestation provider, that the attestation requests that are available cannot initiate a transaction on a different blockchain. It can just get a proof onto the Flare blockchain. So the person has to initiate it. The transaction has to occur on the blockchain, like for Bitcoin and XRP, and then you can get a proof of that transaction, whether it was successful transaction or not, onto the Flare chain is right. For about the attestation provides, like what kind of requests are available, right? So I've already shared it in the chat. I will share it again. There are 6 attestation type providers requests that are available, right? So attestation type side, basically, there is a different format for the request, right? And each attestation types has its own structures, and right, and these are the link in the description there are currently, these are the available attestation providers, so you can check this out, and they can be used from JavaScript to perform REST queries to the attestation providers, or from Solidity to perform the request to the state connector, right, and to parse its responses. You can check that out. I hope that answers your questions. Awesome. Cool.
If someone else has questions, you can ask in this Q&A section, or raise a hand and speak out your question.
Cool.
If
I
not, then
don't
maybe
see-
Uttam, you can remind about upcoming hackathon.
Yeah, sure. So for the ETH Oxford Hackathon that is coming, we have 3 bounty tracks in total. The first one is building a bridge that is using Flare's data protocols, which is the FTSO and straight connector that we just showed you. You have to build a bridge. You're providing $5,000 in FLR for that particular track. The other one was the most primitive application. So build whatever use case that you think, right? Crypto Beach just discussed, there can be a lot of use cases. So if you have anything in mind, just build it using on Flare data protocols. And there is like, again, 5,000 price USD in FLR. The first one, like for first, second, third innovative tabs. The third one is pool price. So whatever you want to build on Flare, you can submit, and you just some possible rules that your tool your application should be verified, and your source code should be open source. You can check out more rules on the tracks details itself, and and for pool price it is $2,000 in FLR. Cool. So the ETH Oxford Hackathon is starting on it's happening on 8th to 11th. You can also register right now. And hopefully we also do have a Flare Hacker House. The deadlines for that has been passed, but you can definitely visit there. We will be there to help you. We will have a Flare booth specifically. So if you have any questions, we'll also be available on Discord and Telegram. Cool. I guess we can wrap up the session then. Right, Kristaps?
Yeah, if no other questions, if you were, you need more time to get familiar, go to our developer documentation, read, and maybe then you have time questions later. So that's completely fine as well. And if no other questions, then I guess thank you for everyone for coming here, for listening about Flare. And yeah, the main thing is that we care about data, and we want to bring data to blockchain, and let's build all these solutions together. Thank you, everyone.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone.